Right now, many of you guys might have already heard about the new Justice League movie, Injustice, which was released in the fourth quarter of 2021. Some may have even watched it. And if you are a fan of DC Comics, you know that movie is based upon the illustrious DC comic Injustice: Gods Among Us. However, from today's video, what I'm going to share with you guys is neither an in-depth review of the comic nor the movie, but a direct comparison between the scenes and storylines that are utilized in common to both creations. Before we begin, I'd like to tell you that the video will not focus on missing scenes in the movie or comic, but on the common content which was presented differently. That being said, let's begin. Get rid of guns. That is, if you can. One of the most logical and well-written scenes we find in the Injustice story. Superman comes to Mr. Terrific seeking assistance to get rid of all guns and warheads from this planet. To do that, he requires Mr. Terrific's T-spheres. A T-sphere is a spherical electronic device that can maintain a self-propelled flight, form laser grids, realistic holograms, record airspace, sense motion, hack into secured networks and machines, and operate as a flight weapon or disastrous bomb. When Mr. Terrific was introduced to Superman's ideation, he questioned Superman's logic behind it, and things start to get interesting from there onwards.
Think of the lives we'd save.
Smoking.
What?
Cigarettes kill far more. People keep smoking even though they know it's killing them. Their families can only watch them die.
And?
You want to save lives? Jail every smoker. Check.
However, in the comic, the lines that Mr. Terrific spoke indeed belong to Flash. The beauty in the comic is at the beginning. Superman is winning the game, proving to the reader that he is making a fair suggestion. Yet as the game progresses, Flash shoots his reasonings one after another, countering Superman's explanation, leading him to win the battle over Superman. The comic brings the storyline to the reader at a nice pace. However, if we look closely, Flash and Superman differ slightly by intellectual ability. Yet, Mr. Terrific is known as the third smartest person in the world.
What? You were toying with me?
You were a pawn I sacrificed, Luthor. I knew Terrific had a plan, even if I didn't know what it was.
You surprise me, Mr. Terrific. I didn't expect you to be victorious. After all, you're only the third on the smartest person list.
Well, I prefer not to draw too much attention to myself. Who do you think wrote that list?
Bringing an argument like previously is more in the fashion of Mr. Terrific than Flash, in my opinion.
And imprison anyone who speeds. Traffic fatalities are huge. Check. Lock up everyone who leaves a dangerous dog unchained. Check. Finally, we kill anyone who doesn't recycle. Checkmate.
You're not going to help me, are you?
No, sir. I am not.
Nevertheless, it is a poor decision by creators to terminate Flash's role at the very beginning of the movie. Not to mention the disgusting reaction, which is none, received from other characters to his passing. The irony is that the entire Justice League can be dispatched to find the missing Lois Lane.
A woman is missing. You want the whole Justice League on a missing person case?
But when one of their own members dies during the action, nobody cares to give a dime. How can you care for people around the world when you don't care for one of your own? Do you all think likewise, or is it the opposite? In fire they burnt. Superman's action deviated from the intended path more and more as the story progressed. Although regime started its acts of enforcing power over authorities and government to protect the innocent people from being victimized, the very person who started all of this began to suppress anyone who questioned his authority and eliminate people who resisted. The most inhumane and cruelest act by Superman was incinerating the gathering of Joker resistance. It is cold-blooded murder. In both movie and comic, the killing takes place, but the follow-up scene is different. The movie shows the act of Superman killing Joker resistance being broadcast online by Bruce. While Superman was in the act, only the T-spheres recorded the brutality. However, Batman frees Mr. Terrific from the underwater prison and derives the clip from storage. In the comic, Batman derives this clip from the hard drive of Cyborg. In both occasions, insurgency broadcast it online, although in the comic, it never meets the public eye. Knowing the depth of atrocity Superman committed, Still, members like Raven in Regime acted to protect Superman and his deceitful public image. Let's have some privacy. When Batman decided to finally answer the threat posed by Superman, he summoned some of the members from Insurgency to his secret hideout. In the movie, the plan was to acquire the Red Sun cannon. The last member to arrive was Green Arrow, but he was not alone. Green Arrow brought Harley Quinn with him to the meeting as well. Both of them went into a narrow space cubicle, and the toilet elevator began to take them underground. In contrast to this scene, in the comic, the person who enters the cubicle with Arrow is Black Canary, his girlfriend. Dinah is the one who knows about Batman's secret hideout and not Ollie, which made him jealous altogether. In the comic, Insurgency was planning to get their hands on the Green Pill, created by Lex Luthor with Superman's assistance. Although Harley was introduced in the movie, in the comic, Dinah comes across Harley after Ollie's death. The encounter happens at the Arrow Cave, now known as the Quiver, thanks to Harley. Dinah and Harley go head-to-head for a couple of minutes, until Dinah is hit by morning sickness. At that moment, Harley finds out that Dinah is pregnant, and Harley also shares her experience being pregnant and fighting battles. Apparently, it is Joker's child that Harley had birthed. After ending the sharing of blows, Harley inquires whether it is Ollie's or someone else's child Dinah is carrying, and Dinah quickly replies the baby is Ollie's without giving any time for Harley to ponder. The Living Bomb. Nathaniel Adam, known to us as Captain Atom, is a superhero powered by the quantum field. Having humongous strength and impenetrable defense, Captain can absorb and manipulate infinite amounts of energy. He can rival even Darkseid, and Superman can hardly measure up to his caliber. Regardless of this, the way Captain Atom was portrayed in the movie Injustice is drastically different from the comic. In the movie, Superman easily beat up Captain Atom and incapacitated him in seconds. Compared to that, the comic has done much more justice towards Captain's role. When Superman tried to strangle him, Captain begins his barrage of attacks, making Superman wasted. One of the defenses of the Captain is possessing a Dylestel armor. The defensive metallic shell, or skin, is composed of a portion of the alien being known as Silver Shield, and is called Dylestel. This Dylestel coating renders him invulnerable to physical and energy attacks. However, in any case, if his Dylestel is to be ruptured, he would detonate not like a nuclear bomb, but like a dozen nuclear bombs, badly irradiating anything within the whole North Pole. To his dismay, Wonder Woman's magic sword was able to slightly breach his metallic shell. The result was catastrophic. Superman was only able to survive thanks to Diana, but she had to pay the price. Even the godly skin wasn't able to withstand detonation. She was completely burnt until Flash attended to her. There are a few slight differences between the movie and comic, but I think this is a good stopping point. So, what do you guys think? Do you agree with what I said, or do you have a different view? Please feel free to comment and share your ideas. Until next time, then.